Hi, welcome to Eye Openers. I'm your host, Brittany Drozd, and each week I bring you insightful conversations with entrepreneurs that will help you make more money, become a strong leader, and build a business culture that you're proud of. Grab your coffee and let's dive in. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Eye Openers. Today I have Lisa Shorr with me. Thanks so much for joining, Lisa.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Brittany. Thank you.
Of course. So, what are you drinking?
Well, today I have a Dunkin' Donuts coffee with some almond milk.
That's a fancy Dunkin'. Look at your mug there.
Yes.
Dress it up.
So if it wasn't for today, typically I use a Yeti cup because I like my coffee warm all day. But I figured for this call, I better, right. That's exactly I dump a whole cup of coffee in there and it's warm for hours.
Yeah. So, great. I love a true New Englander, true to their Dunkin'. That's fantastic. I am a Bolt fan. I don't know if you've ever had Bolt coffee in Providence.
No.
We're in a meeting in downtown, and they have a great little spot. They used to be in the Dean Hotel, and then now they fought on Washington by Providence City Hall. So check it out. But my coffee bold and strong, just like I like my female leaders. So that brings me to giving you a proper introduction, which is that Lisa owns two successful businesses. So not one, but two, Shorr Success and Secure Future Tech Solutions. So I hope we're going to get to hear about both today. You're certified in advanced image consulting and consultancy. You spent 25 years in sales, marketing, and personal branding arena. I'd really like to dive into that today and hear about what you think the future is: professional development, corporate branding workshops, seminars across the country. So lots going on. You've been featured in really amazing publications, Providence Business News, PC World, Channel Pro, and much, much more. It could go on and on, but I love that you're also a board member of Tech Collective. I've recently been connected with some of those people. So looking forward to learning more about all of that. So how are we going to pack all this awesomeness into 20 minutes of this live interview? I don't even know myself, but we're going to get started.
We got caffeine. We have anything.
Caffeine. Why don't we start with the coffee, everyone? So I hope everybody at home also has their coffee. Oh, thanks so much for joining as well. My friend John, who's out in San Francisco, loves his early mornings. We're going to give on insights today, guys, to get you started. I first like to ask about what prompted you, what inspired you to start your business. And now you can choose which business you want to talk about, but maybe there's a common thread there. But what was the idea that came to you? How did you see that there was this opportunity?
Well, so the tech business started before I came on the scene. So my husband and I run Secure Future Tech together. And really, my degree is in marketing. So I am a Bostonian, but moved to Rhode Island because my husband is a native. And my degree is in marketing. And I was working in Boston selling books. And my husband and I were a blind date. And he met me and he had a fledgling tech business at the time. It was only 6 years in. And he's like, "Oh, you do marketing." So I started really just, helping to build the brand of Secure Future Tech Solutions, which has morphed into 23 employees now and, multi-million-dollar business, which I'm very proud of, all organically grown. But I started Shorr Success. That was my idea, my brainchild, because I was seeing people struggling. What I realized is that my forte wasn't just in marketing and, brochures and rebranding, which, we were talking about a little bit before we jumped on today, but it really is human development and looking at ways to figure out how do we become the celebrity in our particular industries. And so that led me down the path to become an image consultant and seek out training and certifications so I could first work with my team on becoming better communicators, on having really interpersonal skills, on their appearance, of course. And so that morphed into now me branching out and working with other businesses as well. So started with the tech business. So there was a common thread. But I just want to see people shine. I just want to see people become that celebrity that everybody has the potential to be.
I love that. The celebrity. I hear about, being known in your industry, right? Being positioned well as an expert, but being the celebrity. I mean, that's truly like what it is, right?
It's all it is. Absolutely.
So So you bring up a good point of helping people shine, right? And so my hunch is that that came from an experience you had, maybe good, maybe bad. So what was the most valuable thing you learned from a previous mentor or boss?
So, I know you gave me this question ahead of time, and I really put some thought into this. And I have to start with actually a negative experience that happened to me in the 90s, which put the seed in my mind. I didn't know where it would go, but it put the seed in my mind. And back in the 90s, I was working, long story short, I was working for an adhesive manufacturing company, and I was running labels for some adhesives that we needed to ship out. And I ran the labels wrong, and I made a mistake and in because I put the wrong label in the folder for the next time. So this is back in the day when we didn't have cloud and everything was in a folder and paper. So
Yeah.
it was a mistake. But my boss at the time called me into his office and said, Lisa, this mistake should not have happened. I want you to go home tonight and think about how I should reprimand you. And I was like, what? Seriously? So I went home that night and I just was like, what are you talking about? I have to reprimand myself for making a mistake on a label. I know I made a mistake, but so I went back in the office the next day and I found the gumption in myself to say, listen, I made a mistake and I apologize for that. But it is not my job as an employee to determine how you should reprimand me. Instead, we should be talking about how we can make this a better process so it doesn't happen in the future. And I'm happy to share in that discussion. He was pretty tongue tied, but that experience never left me. And so fast forward now, and now that I had the tech business and the way that I wanted to run things, I have different mentors that I have worked with along the way. And different people have taught me how to communicate. So, and how to run my business so that I have processes and procedures and I can track my success now and I can measure my success.
Mhm.
We're members, my husband and I are members of a technology marketing organization. And the premise is marketing, but it's really tracking every lead that comes into my office, but in tracking the success of my engineers, tracking just pretty much everything, where I am, my status, my books, my everything.
Mhm.
And had we had that process back in the 90s, I know that the rectification could have come sooner and a bit less painful to the ego and, very hurtful. So, but it pushed me, it was a pivotal moment to say, I don't want to treat anybody that way ever.
Right. Right.
So image kind of was like a natural next step.
Yeah. And so what I just heard you really articulate was the power of data in your business.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're a tech business, so I'd hope there'd be some, but really, this is really instrumental for any small business, right?
And,
That
oh
there
yeah.
could be some sort of dashboard or kind of KPI or something, some metrics that you're looking at.
Mhm.
I always advocate for a weekly basis to kind of like maybe like a Friday morning or afternoon, like have your routine where you look at where are we at? Like, what's the temperature? What's the pulse of my business right now?
Right.
So you can have indicators before things get out of control, right? People love to look at the financials, but those are lag indicators. So I love to hear that you are looking at as much information as you can get your hands on and trying to make educated decisions.
Oh yeah. We should know the leads coming in, how the leads came into you.
Mhm.
Not only so we want to track that, we want to track the meetings that we've had with those leads and how many convert to actual clients. And then, for in any kind of business, each role should have some sort of a metric and some sort of a SMART goal to focus on so they have a direction of where they want to achieve.
Mm.
And I work with clients on thinking about, well, what's most important? What is the most important goal so that you can achieve your annual goal? So we kind of take it and we work backwards. We set our annual goal. And then we think, okay, what are the most important things we need to do and work so we can work incrementally each quarter to achieve those goals?
Yeah.
So it's not an easy process for sure.
John's asking, what are those key indicators? What are yours?
So for me, in my image business, it's leads coming in. It's bringing in leads because I know my conversion rate is typically when leads come in and I sell. So a lot of my conversion is somewhere in the about 50% range.
That's
Not all
great.
leads are going to close. So I'm an image business, and I know that this business is not, it's not, well, the tech business is an essential business, I believe. And I believe you and I, Brittany, are essential businesses because people need support. Business owners and leaders need support. So I track my leads. I track my meetings held, clients, new clients for sure. On my tech side, I track my engineers' billable time. So they have to be what we call that utilization. So how utilized are they? So I track their time in a system because if they don't have any direction and they don't know what goal they need to meet, then they don't have any desire. They're not going to have the desire or they're not going to have the push.
Right.
So Chet
The
Holmes,
direction even.
the direction, they need that. So Chet Holmes from The Ultimate Sales Machine, he wrote The Ultimate Sales Machine, has a quote, and I love it. It's called people respect what you inspect. So people respect what you inspect. So if you respect those needs and you respect the goals that you put forth and you inspect it regularly, then they will achieve them. We do surveys. I also I institute surveys within my tech business, and I talk to my
internally.
I do surveys. So anytime a ticket's closed on my tech side, we automatically generate a survey to that client. Cool. And we have like about a 30% response rate to surveys. They're not going to fill out every single one, and that's okay. But our engineers, that helps us to determine our response time, our professionalism, and sometimes they give some really great comments. And it also helps for me to direct my training. If I'm seeing that there's some training issues or something, like if our response time is getting fours and not fives, which happened mid-COVID, I had to take a step back and say, okay, well, why are we getting a consistent 4 and not 5? And what I realized is we just weren't setting the right expectations with our clients after listening and reading surveys and listening to phone calls. And we do record some of the calls in our company, and it helps me with training. So we were able to determine that.
Really good point. Thank you so much. Yeah. Expectation setting and communication, so important and not talked about. I don't know if it's because it's not sexy to talk about setting expectations between even internally or externally customer facing, but it just changes experience. It changes satisfaction, customer outcomes, all those things. So I'm really glad that you mentioned that.
We're such a reactive mode all the time, Brittany, that we just need to take a step back and start to look at those factors that make us proactive versus just reactive. Such an important differentiator.
Yeah, thank you. So tell me about a pivotal insight or breakthrough that changed the way you lead or think about your business and life.
So I have to be very cliche, and I'm sure a lot of businesses know this, but I watched Simon Sinek's Start With Why years ago when he, you can see the audio of it's pretty old. And I watched that. So there were two things. I watched that. And then I also I thought, well, as an IT company, what I realized is that we were always just reactive, just like I was mentioning. And we were selling the what? We were selling the features of a firewall, and we were selling the benefits of having a data, your data backed up in passwords and all of that. And I realized that, hey, you know what? We need to actually speak to the feelings. What are our clients actually feeling? And then the second piece of that is the word empathy. And I've done a ton of research on empathy and how do we connect emotionally to our clients to say, oh, your server's down. I mean, think about it. If we were having technical issues right now, your blood would be boiling, right? We'd be like, oh my God, when I was setting up today, I mean, truth be told, my husband set me up. I mean, I'm a marketer. I'm the one that's running the human side of things. And I defer to my amazing team to set me up. And that's okay. We all have our skills, but we would have emotions. And I want to make sure that my team and my clients always connect. And everybody listening to this podcast today knows that we need to connect emotionally with our clients. And it started with that video. And if I haven't seen it in a while, I recommend people watch it again and again. So it's really powerful. Right. Is why we do things. So that was a pivotal mindset shift in me to say, oh, I'm doing this. I'm doing it okay, but I can do it better. Mm-hmm. Let me think about what are the emotions my clients are feeling. They're feeling frustrated. They're feeling vulnerable because they don't understand technology. They're feeling overwhelmed because it's change in their organization. And so no matter what industry you're in, this is what our clients are feeling when they don't understand and they hire you to help them because they're connecting somewhere. And so it's up to us to build that relationship through empathy and connection. So
great point.
That was really a pivotal point for me.
Right. And it sounds like it wasn't only insightful to you. John says empathy in tech. Is that a thing? So yeah,
it's a labor of love, Dave. I was telling you, it's a labor of love. And this is my mission. This has become one of so when you're doing marketing, it's really great to have a niche market. So my niche for Shorr's success are two. I have small businesses. I'm always focusing on the small business, but also the tech industry, which I know so intimately and so intimately well. And so the answer is empathy in the tech world is really challenging because we're always just fixing problems. And so we're always reacting, and we're always looking for that tech solution to solve that problem, but not taking a step back and saying, oh, did I lose that client because I didn't communicate well, because I overwhelmed them, because I had a curt and disinterested tone, or I answered the phones poorly. So that's where my mission comes in, is how can I then tweak that and help people?
Right. I love that you're asking yourself those questions. I mean, that's like the great place to start, right?
All the time.
Yeah. So what do you see as your greatest opportunity in front of you, either for Shorr success or secure future tech? When you think about like the landscape of the last year, right, and how things have changed, what do you see as the direction that's going to take, and what are the opportunities you see within that?
For all of us, every single one of us, I think our greatest opportunity for this year is connection. I think I probably have a word of the day, but it's empathy. I think our biggest opportunity on the image side, or as a coach, business coach in general, is to ensure that we partner with our clients so that we teach them and we validate them and communication skills and really hone in on how. I know for me as an image consultant, my mission is shifting to virtual, right? So visual, how do you look on camera? How do you sound on camera? How do you connect online, which can result to an offline conversation? You and I connected on LinkedIn, and I'm thankful we did. And I'm thankful that my profile that I do put time into was a good result, and it resulted in us connecting and then us chatting today. And I know, the other chats that we've had will easily blossom. And that's a beautiful thing. So for the image side, my mission will be focusing on remote communication, because for now, people are getting the vaccine, but we're still going to be business as usual, work from home for quite some time. But we also, because we had such a difficult year last year and so much change already happened this year is happening, we have to really hone in on connection, on feelings and emotion. I think emotional intelligence is going to be a critical component to business development this year. And for those who don't know what emotional intelligence is, it means it's our ability essentially to take a step back and manage the way that we respond. So we can manage our emotions. So we could be in a very frustrating situation, take a deep breath, take a step back, and then determine how are we going to respond to it. That's hard. It's super hard. But if
Mhm.
we constantly practice it and we become validators and leaders and we become inspirational people who are, individually practicing it, then that gives the other people opportunities to mirror it. So
Right.
on both sides of my business, the tech side, we're working from home. We have just been slammed with cybersecurity. Hackers are outrageous right now and very bold and brazen. So it's critical that I build up the communication skills of my team so that I can calm my clients down, reassure them, make them feel that they have a trusted partner, a competent partner, a knowledgeable partner. And so those are the really huge opportunities for all of us for 2021.
Right. So I love that. So a real focus on building that trust and rapport with a
Yes.
client that you haven't been able to actually shake their hand, right? Or meet in person, or kind of get those other opportunities to kind of get a feel for who that person is, right? So now,
Everything.
yeah, through a screen, like through electronic communications. But if you lead with that intention, then you're saying it can really show through, and you can really create that relationship with that customer right away, right? Which has them coming to you feeling like you've got this, you can provide that solution.
Beautiful thing. Yes, absolutely. Our brain actually has neurons in it that they're called mirror neurons. And so these are the neurons that connect to emotions and other people's reactions, other people's nonverbal behavior. And
Mhm.
so we mirror that. So there were studies started back in the 90s on monkeys and watching how they mimic each other, which then resulted in studies in babies, which has, obviously studied
Yeah.
into the business world and started to really matriculate here. And what they're seeing is that we emulate behavior. We're natural behavioral copycats. And it could be a great thing if we're making the intentions of putting the best foot forward. But for those who aren't making an effort or choosing to be grumpy and cranky and, not take the time to actually build relationships, that behavior is also prevalent in an organization. And so when people say, oh, I've got morale issues, oh, I can't stand the culture of my company. Well, I always say to people, let's talk about you first.
Right. Look in the mirror.
How are you presenting yourself?
Yeah,
So
totally. That's a really great point. So it because of emotional mimicry, you're bringing me back to grad school. Love that topic. We actually can be a key influencer in our organization. We are the key influencer in our organization, right? And it's a big responsibility, and to not take that lightly. Love all the insights you've shared with us today. In closing, because I know you have so much more you could really offer, where could people find you and hear more about what you have to offer?
So I would love to continue the discussion with people. My website is www.shorrsuccess.com, SHORR success.com. And right on the top 1/3 of my website, as a marketer does, I have a calendar link to a 15-minute call. So feel free, book it. And I have a free get download on the homepage of my website. It's essential tips to working from home. And feel free to grab that to stay connected. I would love to hear from you. So let's start the conversation.
Awesome. And thank you, everyone who joined us today. I see Mike Barrett there in true last minute fashion. Thanks for showing up. And everyone for their comments and engagement. It's been so fun to have you, Lisa. I really appreciate
Loved
you.
it. Loved it. Thank you for this opportunity. Really.
All right. Until next time, see you guys.
Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks for joining us this week on Eye Openers. Make sure to visit BrittanyDrose.com/podcast for this week's show notes. And if you found value in today's episode, I would so appreciate you giving us a rating on Apple Podcasts or share it with a friend. Also, don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. This all helps to support the show.